ahead and get started.
Yes, so thank you for being here. I hope you guys have something to enjoy, food or beverage wise, here on your lunch hour. I am Corey Brown, and this is my business partner, Trisha Keatley. We are your co-founders of PubliSHEd.
Yep.
And PubliSHEd is first and foremost a community for women business owners. As you both know, we are super passionate about supporting the growth of women, and we have creatively come up with ways to do that. We want to provide ongoing resources, environments, and opportunities for women to grow personally and professionally, to connect with other women business owners, with the main goal of collaborating. That is so big on our hearts. We truly believe there's enough business for all of us, and that we can grow further and faster collectively. So our hopes are to bring growth into your life, new connections, inspire you regularly and be inspired by you, and of course, celebrate all of our wins. So thank you for being here. Welcome again.
Awesome. So this is a little bit of what I was saying about the resources. Just the 3 points that we came up with are you looking to be seen as an expert in your field? Any article that is put into PubliSHEd, you are going to be the expert, right? So of whatever you do. One thing that we really want to avoid or help with is that whole imposter syndrome, right? We all bring something unique to the table that is amazing. So we definitely want you guys to be seen as an expert. So all articles and things are, obviously we will review them, and then we'll go ahead and throw them in there as a resource with tagged and everything. So that way, if people are searching for time management, then Jen's stuff would show up, or whatever. So we can tag them as different topics and categories and things in the community. And then if you have a course to share with your community, we actually offer course hosting in there as well. It's really, really cool. And we can further discuss that later on. If you don't already have a place to host your course, we can there's paid versions and then there's free versions if you just want to offer it to the community and, hope that they share it with somebody outside of the community, but people inside of the community will be the only ones that will be able to see it. But we can definitely get you guys more information on that. And then, are women entrepreneurs your target market? I mean, I think that's why most of us are here, right? Is because that, we are here to support women entrepreneurs, and they are most of our target markets. So any resources that you guys may have, we are definitely open to putting them in PubliSHEd.
Yeah, and kind of the goal of why we are going live once a month is to do that. Support women entrepreneurs, offer a piece of personal or professional development of value to that community. I know time management is something that I have continuously struggled with. So I am ready to take notes for you, Jen. And just to continue to uplift this community, and why we finish with speed networking is to continue to enrich those connections and to meet the new people that are joining, because we are so young right now and there will be more women in here to connect with. So let's get started.
All right, so we are going to welcome Jen Roberts. And Jen, what is your official title that you call yourself?
I am a time creation coach.
Time creation, that's magic.
Yes.
All right, well, we would love to hear from you.
So I have been thinking about time and how I use it since I was in high school. I had a teacher who was very influential in my life, and his favorite quote was, "The unexamined life is not worth living." So that got me thinking about why I believed the things I did, why I thought the things I did, what I valued or didn't value, what I wanted to spend my time on, right? So it's kind of unusual in the Midwest to decide to not have children. Most people, that's kind of a default. And I am, if you want kids, that is great, that is awesome. The only thing that I really want to ask people is just, to think about it. You don't assume that anything is on autopilot in your life, that anything has to happen because everybody else is doing it. So I say that I don't care what you spend your time on, just that you're choosing it, right? Because so much these days is too easy to lose your time to, right? The endless scrolling feed on social media, or autoplay on Netflix or YouTube, that causes you to look up after you've lost your whole evening and go, well, crap, what did I accomplish today, right? So I want to help you avoid that feeling at the end of your life. by looking at how you spend your time now, what you actually value, and what you actually want to do and accomplish. So today, being mindful of your time, I don't have a full presentation. We're just going to do an activity to help you take away something proactive from this meeting. So if you saw on the group, we do have a worksheet you could have printed off to write down your to-do list. It is not necessary by any means. You know, a pen, scrap paper, notebook, whatever you have is great. But the only thing that is helpful on the printout is, if I can get the, I can't, sorry, I'm using the blur, so I don't know, it doesn't like me. But there is a key at the bottom of the worksheet that you can use to help you identify what tasks to prioritize. So we're actually going to do this. It's going to be interactive activity, and we're going to walk through it. So I'll give you guys, so basically I'll have you write down your to-do list. It can be personal, business, mixed together, whatever you need to brain dump out and write down. And I know this is, you know, it's December, it's less than 10 days before Christmas, so things are probably crazy. They are for us. We have family coming in town today. I was like, you have to come after 12:30 after I'm done presenting. So trying to juggle all that right now is intense. So we'll write down our to-do list, and then we'll go through and evaluate it basically. And then we'll look at what we should start with based on that evaluation.
So
What's the time frame for our time list? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. What do you mean?
What's the time frame, like for the week, for the year, for?
That is a great question. I probably wouldn't, for now, let's do the week or the next, you know, the upcoming week, since it is Friday.
Hi, Tasha. So you want us, Jen, just to clarify, you want us to write down personal life and business life, everything that we need to do. Brain dump.
Either way, if you'd like to, yes.
Right. Brain dump your to-dos for the next week.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So just brain dump your to-dos for the next week on your
Oh crap.
I already did it this morning.
overachiever. And yeah, just look up when you're done so that I have an idea. You know, it's like school. We're back in school. When I have your eyes back on me, then we'll go to the next step.
We're gonna need 2 pieces of paper.
That's intimidating. I did that right after GEW. I had multiple to-do lists on different notebooks around the house. And so when I brought them all together and consolidated onto one list, I was like, well, that's kind of terrifying. Wow, we are some busy ladies.
The longer we sit here, the more I can think of.
That's true. Okay. All right. Do you have more than a dozen things on your list?
Yes.
Okay. We'll start with that then. Hopefully, you know, those are probably the most pressing things, the things that are worrying you the most. They came out the easiest onto paper. So the first thing we're actually going to do is go back and look at our list and read through each item and see if any of them have secret steps, is what I call it. So my example is if you have an item on your to-do list that says mail birthday card to grandma, your brain secretly knows that's not one thing, right? Because you probably don't have a card, you may not have a stamp. So you have to find a card, you have to write the card, you actually have to find a stamp or get a stamp and mail it. So right, there are like those secret sub steps in there that make your brain knows that. And so it is avoiding that task because it knows that's not really what it is. So if you have any items like that on your list, if you can break it down into subtasks and put the actual specific single tasks down, that will help as well. So do you have any items like that we need to break down?
There's
Every
not enough
single
room.
one. Mine are so broad, like a whole website. Yeah, there's 500 tasks to do inside.
Right. Okay. So if you have something like that, what's the first 1 or 2 steps, right? Like, is it pick a provider or research providers? Or is it pick the URL or pay the bill, whatever, whatever like the first step might be.
Okay.
And if you do have really long lists like that, I'm sure that's where, a time management tool, I think people use Asana maybe for, like to-do lists and things like that. I love pencil and paper because my therapist tells me that it helps to write it out, right? To physically write it out removes it from your body in a more tangible way than just making an online list. So I end up doing both actually, because I love the calendar alerts that I get, the automatic alerts on my calendar, but I do have to write it down as well to actually feel better about it. And sometimes I put things on my list just so I can cross them off immediately because I've already done them.
I like it. See, I hate, I love writing things down and I don't like the reminders for my calendar because it actually I'm like, darn it, I didn't do that today. Darn it, I didn't do that today.
Okay.
So I like writing. I write everything I need to do down every single day.
And again, that's what I do with when I work one-on-one with clients, is that we find what works for you. Because if it's easy, if it's manageable, then you're more likely to do it.
Yeah.
It's like if you start a strict diet or exercise routine after the first of the year, after a while, most people fall off that wagon just because it's not sustainable, because it's either not enjoyable or it's too much at a time. So you want to start with small changes. Okay. So once we have our list, and after we've identified our items on our list with secret steps, additional steps, so then we're going to go through and evaluate our list. And I like to do this in a couple different chunks, just so it's not overwhelming. So that's why my key had 2 columns. So the first thing we'll go through is we'll go through each item and we'll label the line easy or hard. So easy is something that you already have all the tools for or all the ingredients for if you need to cook something. Hard is something that maybe you don't have the tool for yet, or maybe you don't have quite the right knowledge to make the decision yet. Honestly, on my to-do list, I put survive because I have a very crazy weekend coming up. So
if okay, so say I have a website listed.
mm-hmm.
Can I put easy for an easy client and hard for a hard client?
Sure. Whatever it means to you.
I have vision board on my list and it's been on my list for like 2 weeks.
Oh, shoot.
Stuff to do.
So one thing I do like to remind people is to remember that doing nothing is always an option, right? So with the vision board, if it keeps coming back on your list and you keep never getting to it, you probably need to take a look at that and dig down into that and find out why, right? Like, is it on your list because you were told you needed to do it, but you don't really want to?
Yeah.
Or does it actually help you and you just haven't set aside specific time for it? Because you can always just not do it.
Sometimes that happens.
Yep. Right, but I do think it is better to choose to not do it than to let it not happen because you're too busy with other things and you didn't actively make a choice for it.
Sure.
But you also have to be okay with that, right? You have to be okay with acknowledging maybe you're stretched too thin, or maybe you don't want to do it, or maybe it's not that important, and that's okay. So once you have your list, or most of your list, depending on how long it is, labeled easy or hard, the next thing I like to go through and is mark each line again, whether it's valuable and or fun. So valuable might be something that's really important to you, or if it's a list of your business to-dos, it might be something that actively makes you money, right? Like posting on social media, does it actually bring you clients and money? Or does networking actually bring you clients and money? And this is infinitely customizable. If there is something else that is important to your business or your life that would help you make these decisions and prioritize your list, feel free to modify this however you like. For example, one that I often use when my list gets obscenely long, like a page or more, is T for time sensitive, right? Like, is there something on my list that has to happen today or tomorrow? Because that can help you prioritize it as well. So that's I should have said that at the beginning. That's kind of the goal of this, to help you prioritize. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you have just too much to do and you don't even know where to start, the brain dump will help get it out of your head and get rid of some of that anxiety. And then you can prioritize it like this, by labeling things to really get a clear idea of what's going to move the needle for you. Especially if you're labeling things valuable and fun, because after you have the whatever labels you want to use on there, you're going to go back through and find lines that either have the most items on them, or the best combination, if you have it, is easy, valuable, and fun. Easy and fun is also extremely good one to look for, because you're probably going to do it. And it'll give you a really great sense of accomplishment to knock that out of the park. They talk about one of the time management techniques that I've seen around quite a bit is eat the frog, which talks about tackling the first thing in the morning is like a hard, hairy task. I think it's a Mark Twain quote. If you have to eat 2 frogs in the morning, you might as well eat the biggest one first. So yeah, it's not the greatest visual, but it's certainly memorable. But yeah, you can set yourself up for success the rest of the day by tackling a big task and a big task, a valuable task, or an easy and fun task. And like I said, I like to add time sensitive to mine a lot of times if I have a really long list, so that I can make sure I get those things done that have a deadline or have someone else waiting on it for me. Which right now my entire list is, because we're going out of town on Monday. So I have to get everything done before Monday while I have family over every day.
When you make your list, do you put them in order of importance? Like the very first thing you should do or anything like that? No.
I do not. I mean, if your brain works that way and when you're writing, you just dump it out like that, that's awesome. But mine doesn't. It's just like, I just feel like overwhelmed and chaotic. And so I just had to put down everything. And that's why going through and evaluating them and labeling them easy, hard, valuable, time sensitive can help you find that priority list. And so you can either circle the ones that are easy and valuable, or you could make a new list in priority order, whatever works for you and makes you feel empowered to do it. So this is a technique that can help you, like I said, prioritize your list, find a way to tackle it so you feel like you're accomplishing things, so you don't get to the end of your day and say, where did the time go again? And like I said, infinitely customizable, however you need it to work for you. And you don't need any tools beside a pen and paper. So you can do it at any time. And just remember that writing things out physically can often help with anxiety and worry about it as well.
Awesome.
But yeah, so that, and one thing you do have to watch out for are those steps that actually have multiple secret steps in them, because you'll want to try and break those down as much as you can. And yeah, just try it a few times and see how it works for you. Keep it if it helps. No pressure if it doesn't.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
I noticed the other day too, whenever I was on Google, that now they have an active task list that you can use. Did you see that, Tasha? Yeah. I was like, ooh, what is this? I haven't had time to really dive into it yet, but that would be a good way, because like I write everything down, but it would be good to have it in the computer as well. I just have trouble with that because I get mad at myself if I don't cross something off on the computer versus it being on paper. You know, it's weird.
You know, and same thing with writing your list, the physical act of crossing it off when you've finished it or checked it off, I think that helps too. At least it does for me. That's why I said I'll put things on my list that I've already accomplished just so I can cross them off.
Yeah, dopamine rush. That's what that is.
Yep.
So did you,
Can I add to the Google thing? Like
Yeah.
that's great, because if you're clicked on an email and then you hit task, it'll save the email. And so then later when you're going through your task, like you just click that button and it will bring up the email that's relevant to that. So
Nice.
that's what or like anything that's important, or you need to like maybe use weekly links or whatever, easy way to get to them.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
does the task list like live on your screen and it's just ongoing as you add to it?
It's kind of like you can like, yeah, you can, you know how you can have the calendar on the side? It's
Sure.
just like that. You can have like a task list on the side. So I'll kind of do that for like daily stuff that I'm just like jotting through, like kind of like these secret hidden tasks where it's like, I got to go do this, and this, instead of just the one thing. It seems hard to like write it all down, but if I just do it quickly in there, it kind of works because you can bullet point in there too.
Nice.
So that's easy. And then I like, the one thing I don't like though is that it doesn't, like on mobile, you can't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
So that pisses me off.
That's annoying because you can work anywhere and you take your stuff with you and you need to reference your phone constantly.
Yes.
Yes.
A
And
lot.
so like if I'm in meetings or out doing something fun, I'm like, oh wait, what else do I have that's like pressing? And then I try and look in there. And like sometimes the sonnet's just too big or something. You know what I mean? If you just want a quick glance. So
I've started taking tiny notebooks. I got one as like a promotional gift from a CPA, and I just keep it in my purse so that I can write down my to-do list when it's worrying me when I'm out and about.
Yeah. And I think that's a great thing because then it gets it out, like you said, and then it doesn't stay up here. I've never really thought about it that way. I like that. So Jen, tell us how somebody can work with you. What does that look like?
So right now I am looking for 3 more clients to work one-on-one with me in 2023. And so we would schedule a free 1-hour time assessment, and we'll go through 8 areas of your life to see where you're at right now versus what an ideal situation would look like. And then, so we can see if you want to work together, if we'd be a good fit. And so you can either email me at hello@timehonoredcoach.com or go to my website, timehonoredcoach.com. And there's a link there to schedule right directly on my calendar.
Very cool. And of course she knows she wants 3 clients for next year. That's the kind of like honed in I need to be.
Time management helps you get organized.
Yeah. And, you know, mostly I would say the biggest thing overall is just to think about things, right? Like think about the choices you're making and why you're doing the things you're doing. If it's important to you, if you can do nothing instead, right? Is this a should or is this a really want to do it?
Yeah.
So it's always, life is an experiment. And so I just encourage you to look at everything that's going on in your past and currently and see what's working and do more of that and try to let go of the things that aren't.
Very nice. Thank you so much, Jen.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Okay, so what we're gonna do, we usually do speed networking where we kind of like break out into groups, but since it's just the four of us, I would like everybody, Jen, obviously you already introduced yourself and we know how to work with you and all of that now. But I would like to go around and just have everybody say what you do and just a little bit about you. We've got a little bit of time still, so I mean, make it as short or as long as you would like. So, you know, we've got time. Rachel, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Rachel Blankenship, and I am a mediator as well as a litigation paralegal. But my primary business that I operate is RR Mediations. And basically, if you have conflict, I'm your gal. And who doesn't have conflict? Whether it's workplace or personal, home, parent, teen, I'm trained and capable of handling all types of alternate dispute resolutions.
Very nice. The peacekeeper. That's what I call her. Yes, Tasha.
Do you work with or have you dealt with narcissists?
Oh, geez.
And yeah. So I have a sibling that's like, we just stopped talking and I would really like to not talk, but I mean, he's always right.
Yep. And they're very hard. There's actual special training for narcissists, all kinds of books about working with narcissists. And yeah, I've actually done, I mean, in family, you do a lot of that because it seems like 9 times out of 10, when there's a divorce involved, it's because somebody has either minor or very extreme narcissistic behavior. But also with the bioethic mediations, bioethic isn't formed for that specific need, but it seems to be a very good fit. I work with a lot of families who are in conflict for things other than divorce and parenting time. Conflict around, end of life matters, conflict around probate, conflict around just general getting along. I've got a young man who reached out who his father died and he and his uncle have not spoken because of the way his uncle handled himself at the funeral, and this kid wants to reach out and talk to the uncle and make peace. Okay, we can work on that.
Yeah. Awesome.
So yeah.
Tasha, I know all about narcissists. I was married to one, and I have some family members that are one, are some.
I also have family members in that category.
Everybody knows a narcissist. I have a
I
whole
know.
book on it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, is that like super prevalent, or are we like raising people to be that way?
I
I
think
think that the environment around anymore has been very self-serving and instant gratification. And I think it kind of helps breed people who are focused solely upon themselves and their needs. And I mean, that's just my personal opinion, but
yeah.
Rachel, do you know what your Enneagram number is? Just curious.
I do. What was it?
Was it a
Trisha,
3? You told us one time.
yeah, and I can't remember. I'd have to look it back up, but yeah.
At one point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just curious. That
She's
is
the
such a unique
peacekeeper.
skill set
Mm-hmm.
to be able to do that. And like you can be in a conversation and not agree with them, but you still have to facilitate a conversation. So that's kudos to you.
Yeah, and there's times where I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous.
Mama needs a break.
Right. And I've got clients that I've worked with so often, and that we're on a different level. And I remember I had one young couple about 6 months ago, and I'd been working with them for over a year on their parenting plan. and they were just sitting there and they just could not talk to each other. I'm like, y'all are just killing me. Knock it off.
I love it.
I don't get to do that very often.
Awesome. Well, Tasha, tell us about you and how we could work with you.
So I do creative direction. I'm a graphic designer, art director, and I have a little team of people that help me put together brands and websites and social, like anything, event, stationery. We do a lot of strategy too, so ad campaigns. So yeah, anything in the creative world, really, we can help you with.
Yeah, and you have women, KC, women owned.
Oh, Women Owned KC. So it's just an online directory of women-owned businesses in Kansas City, and it educates, the audience or consumers on why we should support women-owned. And you can get your business listed there for free if you go to the website and then scroll to the bottom. It says, like, I don't know, there's a link that says, it's kind of hidden, like intentionally.
I filled it out yesterday.
Good, you did? Okay. I have to like manually sync them to go in. And like a lot of times I just double check the spelling and everything like that. So I will, that's a good reminder. Thank you. Then I'll go in. It's been a couple weeks.
Corey,
I'm
just
on there.
her list is fun, easy, and valuable.
Oh, yes, definitely.
I'm on there for my watercolor business, which is my alternate ego.
Fun.
Awesome.
Nice.
So Tasha, did you guys find a co-working space yet?
Yeah, so that's the other fun thing I'm doing is making a co-working space. I think we have like a decent idea, and the Nell is willing to work with us. They have a mezzanine that's not really being used, sometimes for events, but not often. And so they said we could co-work there. And they gave me like a decent deal that I was like, we can do this. And then we had 2 people drop out. So I can't commit like to a lease yet, but she's willing to work with us. And basically I can just give her what we make. And in the meantime, like we need to have a private kind of, there's going to be a wall put in with like French doors and a keypad so that all of our stuff will still be, it'll be a private space within this like kind of public, because there's a gym upstairs and people are in and out all the time. So yeah, if you guys are looking for co-working, it's called Kind Human. And I'm hesitant to make it official yet. I'm still working out a little bit of the kinks, but I think that's what's gonna happen for us next. So
Very cool.
Where is
So,
it
yeah.
located?
It's in the Crossroads district. So it's 1818 McGee. And the Nell is like it's an event space from what I can tell, but they also do a lot of other odd things. But I think it was supposed to be like a exclusively female like social club that just didn't like work out that way. So in the basement they have a bunch of artists that they like let use for free the space, and one of them's like going to Parsons next year. Like they have they let nonprofits rent the space for free a lot or for cheap. She seems like a great gal and is like very like pro woman, pro female. So yeah, she'll be there for at least the next 3 years. And so we might sign a 1-year lease with her. I wanted to be in KCK on like the art walk because I'm kind of an artist and I want to support that vibe. But we just don't have enough funding yet to be able to sign a long lease like that. So I think we'll go here. It'll be kind of smaller. On Wednesdays, we do pop-up co-working or pop-in co-working, and it's $10 in December. I think it's probably going to go up in January, and then we'll have more of a plan on when that wall is going to go up and when we're going to be able to offer some other like membership styles. So if anyone's looking for like a dedicated desk or like semi-private, hit me up and we'll have access to that 24 hours, even though we're not paying for it really. So
Awesome. Well, definitely keep us in the loop for sure. Because we're all about events, and I'm definitely all about like lunch and learns and speaking and all that kind of stuff. So
have you guys been there before?
I have.
It's really pretty.
It's beautiful, but they're like you kind of mentioned, their messaging is not quite clear yet. I wasn't exactly sure what they did. Even after I went to their website, I was like, so they're kind of an event space, but they offer memberships. But what do you get with your membership? Is it a gym membership?
Not really. No, I think it's just, so it's $230 to be like a member there. And so I just asked if like a few of us could be members, and we put desks on the mezzanine for now. And she was like, sure. So then once we get the wall up, then we'll go up to like the like private, like dedicated desk pricing, which would be like $325, I think, or $350 we have. But in the meantime, she's been really flexible about just like letting us come in. So I'm like, there's not a Keurig, there's not a microwave, there's not a fridge. So I'm like slowly bringing all these things in that we can use until we can afford to commit to a lease.
Yeah.
So
Understood.
that's really nice of her. I think she's been really flexible with that.
Yeah, that's helpful.
They know
Trisha,
that it's confusing and they know they have problems, but I don't think they have decided what they are. So that's where the decision has ended. But yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
I was going to ask if Trisha and Corey, if you guys had a location for next year's networking events.
Well, that's part of the reason why I asked Tasha. We do not yet. We have, I don't know if any of you guys were at the last Innovate Her coffee.
Mhm.
We've actually been thinking, and we would love your guys' opinion. We've been thinking about it not being like a presentation and not being like so structured like we've done in the past, and it just be like networking and coffee. Just to bring women together. So you guys tell me if you would rather have it be like structured like we've been having it with the presentation, or if you'd rather it just be like open networking time with coffee.
Any
thoughts?
preferences?
Personally, I like the learning aspect of it. So I would like to continue to have the speakers, because it seems like every single one you go in thinking, oh, I don't know if that's really relevant to me. And then, oh yeah, that's really relevant to me.
That's great feedback. We
That
definitely,
is. Thank you.
yeah.
Because the only one I've been to is the December one. So there was a speaker, and then there was also the gift exchange afterwards. So the speaker ran a bit longer than expected, I think. So we ran quite long with the gift exchange part, which was fun. So I don't mind the speakers, but as a time management perspective, I would probably ask for either a shorter time for speakers, so there's more time to network as well. So you're getting both, or like, yeah. Keeping them more, I don't know, like she just got up and talked, right? Like I don't feel like she had like a plan. So that may have been part of why it kind of went long.
Good perspective. I mean, we
Yes.
certainly don't want to be wasting anyone's time. We value everyone's time. Thank you.
Let's see how many times we can say time on this call. Yes, Tasha.
Okay, I have a suggestion or an idea that maybe is a little self-serving too. What if we had it at the Nell or at a co-working space where they could stay and mingle afterwards and not feel like they have to leave? Like if you were like that space didn't feel like, it's kind of like, oh, it's done, let's move on. Like you guys would be welcome to use the space. And then people who wanted to like do the more just like mingling stuff, maybe you just have that optional at the very end after the speaker stuff. Because I do like the speaker stuff, but I agree the last one went a little long. But I really like your guys's like the speed friending thing, or speed networking, whatever, I forget what you call it, but I like the way that helps me get out of my bubble. So I feel like if you do then like extra mingling and people can stay around and work if they wanted to, that would just make it a little bit easier for them to like continue the conversation instead of having the networking at the beginning, because I feel like it's really kind of like a cold start. You know what I mean? Like it's better to do it sometimes at the end. So
Yeah, because then you have a shared experience of the speaker you could talk about as well.
yeah.
And one thing, like what's interesting about IHKC is they alternate, right? So like 1 month it's mornings, and then 1 month it's the next month it's evenings. So you can kind of hit different people, for depending on their schedules and stuff. So I don't know if you wanted to do like a speaker every other month or once a quarter or something like that too.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yes, thank you. And so Corey, what do you have going on?
Well, I have a lot going on, but as a brand photographer, I obviously work with a lot of women entrepreneurs, and something that I started doing just 2 months ago is monthly brand minis, which is where I go to a new location each month, and you can sign up for a spot, which is a 15-minute individual session where we get all of the traditional pictures that you would need for social media, for your website, blogging, speaking engagement, headshots, all kinds of things like that. It's not as personalized as my bigger packages where I do a deep dive into your actual branding messaging and making sure that we tell your visual story. But these are pictures that your business will use time and time again. And since people come to me and they sign up for a 15-minute slot, I'm able to keep them very cost effective at $150 for a single visit. And you get to choose 20 of your favorite images from that gallery. So very cost effective way for someone to try out my services or to just get a quick updated refresh. If you're just starting out and you need more help with your branding, that might not be the ideal package for you, but I wanted to be able to offer something for everyone.
Smart.
Awesome. Thank you. So I just want to share a couple of things with you guys. I am in a bit of a transition mode of trying to like really hone in on what all of the businesses are doing, right? So obviously you guys know that I have a web design and branding agency. And I think the biggest thing with that is I have software that does all the digital marketing that you could ever possibly want. And so that's probably my biggest thing right now is just getting people onboarded into that, because it is so powerful to have your email, text messaging. It has funnels, it has workflows, it has automations. It literally has everything like social media planning, and it just added TikTok on there as well. So it's really cool to have everything in one platform, and you get all of your messages in one spot versus, oh, I have an Instagram message and I have a Facebook message and I have an email and I have this and that and the other. So it's really cool to have that in there. So if you guys have any questions about that, let me know. And then I'm just going to kind of like reiterate the whole idea of what we're wanting Publish Nation to be. We're obviously wanting it to be a community of amazing women, but we really want it to be a resource as well. So what we're doing, we're currently taking all of the old magazine issues and turning them into separate PDFs and making an entire directory of business resources inside of Publish Nation. So that being said, like Jen, if you have this worksheet that you wanted to add in there with some instructions, we would love to put that in there, like under time management. Or Tasha, if you have something for branding or anything that you want to add in there, we're definitely open to having it in there. It'll be a resource that lives on and on and on, because we don't, like right now we have about 20 members inside of Publish Nation, but our goal this year is to get 1,000 in there. So it'll be seen by a lot of people eventually. So that's probably the biggest thing that I have to share. And then, as you guys know, I think most of you guys know that I do personal development coaching and business development coaching. So just reach out if you guys have any needs around that as well. And then I think that's all we were going to do speed networking, already did that. So we're good to go. All right. So thank you guys so much for coming. Does anybody have any questions or anything like that?
Look at us being efficient with our time today.
I know. It's all about you. It's all because of you, Jen.
It is. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys for being here. Yes. We hope to see you next month too. And at our first Friday coffee on the first Friday of January, we will be announcing a location shortly.
And it will be centrally located somewhere.
Great day.
Later.
Just playback.